solve by completing the square. So number 1 is given as x squared plus 2x minus 9 equals 0. So what we want to do is make, I'm going to grab a different color. We want to leave room for what will make this trinomial a perfect square trinomial. So put x squared plus 2x plus blank and move that 9 to the other side. So in order to move it, we needed to add the 9 to both sides. So then I get 9 on the other side, and you want to put a blank on the left and the right, because the number we want to put in that blank would make this trinomial what we call a perfect square trinomial. So I'll explain that a little more in just a second. So to figure out what goes in our blank, we call it our C. We take half of B and we square it. So half of B would be half of 2, because that's our B value. Half of 2 would be 1. And then 1 squared, my pen went a little crazy. So 1 squared would just be 1. That's what goes in our blank. So let me show you that again. We'll make it a little simpler. So half of B is 2. So do 2 divided by 2. That equals 1. And then square that number. And that's what goes in your blank. Now, the reason this is called a perfect square trinomial, this trinomial we just created, is because x squared plus 2x plus 1 would factor into x plus 1, x plus 1. Notice the factors are identical, so we call it a perfect square trinomial since it can be written with two factors that match. But then we can rewrite it as just x plus 1 squared, which makes it look a little more condensed. And then on the other side of our equation, we need to put 9 plus 1 together so we could keep solving. So now look at what we have. We have x plus 1 squared equals 10. And we need to get x by itself. So the next thing to do is get rid of that square by taking the square root of both sides. And so by doing that, we just get rid of the square and bring down x plus 1 equals, and then the square root of 10 does not come out evenly, so we're going to leave it, but we have to put plus or minus the square root of 10 out front. Think of 4. 4 is an easy number to think of. So the square root of 4, if we were to ask to take the square root of 4, we have to think about the fact that 4 could have come from two different places. It could have come from 2 times 2, but it could have come from negative 2 times negative 2. So when you're solving something and you take the square root of it, you don't know where it came from. It could have come from positive or negative values. So we have to put that plus or minus out front to ensure that we've covered everything. And then to finish solving our equation, we just need to get x by itself. So we just need to subtract that 1 that's still there beside it. So x equals negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 10. And so what we have are two roots. We have x equals negative 1 plus the square root of 10, and x equals negative 1 minus the square root of 10. So you can either write them together or you can write them separately, but we have two roots. Okay, so that's it for example 1. Since that one took a little bit of time, I'm going to put the next one in a separate video.